and some of the things that we're going to do, but AI. And that's AI, little things, simple, two little simple letters, but it's big.
If ultimately hundreds of millions or billions of people get a high bandwidth interface to their digital tertiary self, their AI self effectively.
And you know, Elon, I love Elon Musk.
The goal is to give people superpowers.
Well, it is a superpower. You want to be right at the beginning of it.
For a little tech, we think Donald Trump is actually the right choice.
And the social problems that one will have in substituting humans for machines.
The cynical view would be this is just a classic arms race.
Who masters those technologies will be the master of the world.
I'm going to have a lot of friends who are probably pissed off at me for saying anything nice about President Trump.
We're going to bring this into a golden age like never seen before. Remember this, China wants to do it, Japan wants to do it, all of these countries want to do it. If you look at some of the things that have been done and some of the things that we're going to do, but AI needs literally twice the electricity that's available now in our country. Can you imagine?
At technology transformation, it usually takes place in the terms of an S-curve. And we are just now where we move into the exponential phase. Artificial intelligence, but not only artificial intelligence, but also the metaverse, near space technologies, and I could go on and on, synthetic biology. Our life in 10 years from now will be completely different, very much affected, and who masters those technologies in some way will be the master of the world.
I think it's obviously going to be totally transformative in fields like warfare, and you already see that. AI, sort of every possible threat you can think of AI posing, basically there is a corresponding defense that has to get built. By the way, we see the exact same thing with drones. Weaponized AI autonomous drones are clearly a threat, as we see in the world today. And so we need AI defenses against drones. The cynical view would be this is just a classic arms race, attack, defense, and kind of does the world get any better if there's just more threats and more defenses? I think the positive way of looking at it is we probably need these defenses anyway. Right.
On the other hand, trusting only government, then you get these kind of communist nightmares that we definitely don't want to try this mistake again.
What do you think the government's role in enabling, protecting, or governing AI should be in general? Should this superpower become what we believe it probably will be?
Well, it is a superpower, and you want to be right at the beginning of it, but it is very disconcerting. I said, you used the word alarming. It is alarming. So it brings with it difficulty, but we have to be at the forefront. It's going to happen. And if it's going to happen, we have to take the lead over China. China is the primary threat in terms of that. But massive amounts of electricity are needed in order to do AI. And we're going to have to generate a whole different level of energy. And we can do it, and I think we should do it, but we have to be very careful with it, right? We have to watch it. But it's, the words you use were exactly right. It's the words a lot of smart people are using. There are those people that say it takes over the human race. It's really powerful stuff.
I think the Great Divide's going to get worse. The wealthy and the poor countries. But in my conversations with the leadership of these large developed countries that have xenophobic immigration policies, they don't allow anybody to come in, tricky demographics, and the social problems that one will have in substituting humans for machines is going to be far easier in those countries that have declining populations. But the biggest opportunity for every country is going to be if they're going to be adapting their own AI, and they're going to keep the AI within countries, within border, all the data in border. And so that's going to be the opportunity, too, for each country to develop that, and they'll have all their data remain in the country. So obviously that requires huge investments, but that's one of the foundations of real big global growth.
Next 5 years, AI is going to develop into something which we can't even imagine because at the speed it is developing today. Is there a possibility of AI becoming more powerful than humankind?
The amount of power that's needed to use AI has huge impact on society. Where's that power going to come from? Are we going to take it off the grid? What does it mean for elevated energy prices for everybody else if it's that? I think it's going to represent some huge societal questions that we have not addressed, the negative side. Forget about the use of it, but just the generation of it is massive power. Okay, but that is a huge investment opportunity.
And you know, Elon, I love Elon Musk. Do we love him? I love him.
So our first product is something, like I said, we call telepathy, which enables the person with the Neuralink implant to control their phone or computer just by thinking. And once you can control your phone and computer, you can essentially control almost anything. It is purely your thoughts. The long-term goal, which sounds a little esoteric, is to mitigate the risk of the civilizational risk of AI by having a sort of closer symbiosis between human intelligence and digital intelligence. And so this is why, like, ultimately, I think you'll be able to do conceptual telepathy, like where you can communicate entire concepts uncompressed to someone else with a Neuralink or to the computer.
And you know, so Elon endorsed me recently, the other day, actually. He's great. Elon Musk. He's a brilliant guy. Every time I call him, he's talking about, I got a new idea for a rocket. You have to hear this.
But I just want to emphasize again, like, the goal is to give people superpowers, not just to restore prior functionality. So I think it's very exciting, and I think that should give hope to a lot of people in the world that the future is going to be exciting and inspiring, and the technology is going to give them superpowers. I mean, that's amazing.
But, you know, he's a very advanced person, and he's doing other things that are great. And so, but Elon endorsed me the other day, and I didn't even know this. He didn't even tell me about it. But he gives me $45 million a month. A month. Not 45 million. Gives me 45 million a month.
Actually, the thinker who I think had the best foresight about how the AI revolution was going to play out was actually Ray Kurzweil. I agree. Yeah, and his book Singularity is Near gets like a lot of shit. I think that people, kind of assume it's going to be this almost like just sort of religious text, but instead it's a very dry analytical text. And he just looks at the compute curves and he says, this is the fundamental unlocker of intelligence. Everyone thought that was crazy, and now it's basically true. It's basically common wisdom. And part of what he says is, look, what's going to happen is in 2030s, first of all, he says AGI 2029.
Yeah, I keep telling people, it seems to be almost exactly right.
It's spooky. It's spooky. 2030s is when the merge happens. So we've got Neuralink coming, maybe other systems like that. And what does it mean once you actually are kind of merging with an intelligence?
So it's not clear to me that the Neuralink will be ready before AGI. I think AGI is probably going to happen first. The reason for Neuralink, although initially it will be very helpful to people who have brain or spine injuries, and ultimately to improve the bandwidth between the cortex and your AI, the AI version of yourself. And if ultimately hundreds of millions or billions of people get a high bandwidth interface to their digital tertiary self, their AI self effectively, then that seems like that probably leads to a better future for humanity.
The singularity I put in 2045. At that point, the non-biological intelligence that we create that year will be about 1 billion times greater than all biological human intelligence.